Now, I have seen a few more things over the past couple of days, a couple of women, etc., which has swayed me towards, I do believe he probably is a danger towards women.
Oh, well, that was very, very predictable. Actually, I said that would happen with JDP, Mr. Banter, where you never see the banter. Has anyone ever seen any banter? No, neither have I. But for those who don't know, he suddenly started speaking up for Decca Heggie, saying Decca Heggie was a victim of trolls, and actually said that Decca clearly was not a bacon. Now, that was only said the day before, or it could have even been the day that Decca was arrested. So he was convinced then, now suddenly that Decca's been arrested and he can't access his YouTube channel anymore, suddenly JDP has changed his tune. He claims that he's seen a couple of things about victims of Decca and he thinks now he's a danger to women. He actually says in another video, and that's why I've made this, his latest one, where he's having another pop at Hedgehog Man, Video Craig, that Video Craig and Decca, and he's referring to Decca, are clearly two wrong uns. So in not even 24 hours, he's absolutely turned 180 degrees his view of Decca. Now, I say, as you heard there in that clip, he claims he heard these testimonies of these women, it sounds like, victims of Decca, or he's heard something that's changed his mind. But I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that one bit. He was told again and again and again that there was evidence out there. He actually got his channel known when he was using, let's put it this way, he was using Hedgehog Man. And why I stress that using? This is what he does. He goes out trying to use people. Remember when he knew so much about Decca that he wore a red vendetta mask and said things like this?
Your worst nightmare is here.
And that was aimed at Decca Heggie. And this is the important thing to remember about what came later. He suddenly turned on Craig after being on his shows, after actually starting his own spin-off attacking Decca called the Diffie Daily. I think he was the one that came up with the name, the Diffie Daily or something like that, or the Decca Diffie, wasn't it? And so he was listening to a lot about him, but he turned on Craig because of these videos that are out there. And if he's horrified by them, quite right. I don't like them. I'm horrified by them. And there's certain things now call Craig out on this behaviour. I have done. I've always said my view of Craig is when he's really being good and nice, he's nice, but when he's being horrible, he is really nasty with it. So that will put people off. So I wasn't blaming JDP for that, but what it did look like when JDP turned on Craig, it looked like he was trying to sort of take over a coup. In other words, he was saying he was going to ruin Craig, he was going to get rid of him and all this because he was a wrong and all that business. And I think he was hoping to get suddenly loads of views, because every time he'd get someone agreeing with him or a subscriber, he'd be, yeah, we're on, he'd be cheering on. But it quickly became apparent his coup wasn't going to work. So he started melting up on Craig. Oh, well, I didn't say, and this is what he always does, and he's doing this with Decca now, but in the reverse way. Oh, I never, I wasn't saying, you know, I would never talk to Craig again. I'm not saying this, I'm not saying that. Changing his tune when his plan didn't work. But also, what I didn't like about what JDP did, he tried to make out that Craig had basically done a Svengali on him and mesmerised him into all this thing about Decca. That happened when he suddenly turned. He wanted an explanation of why he was supporting Decca. Now, we'll say he wasn't supporting Decca. So he always tries to give out middle of the ground messages to say, no, so you can't call me out because I'm not saying that. But when he turns around, he says that Decca is no way a bacon. And he only said that yesterday. Decca is no way a bacon. Yesterday. This is how quick he changes. Like that. As I say, it'll change at the click of your fingers. You know, he can't then claim that that's Craig making him do it. He used to do his own shows calling out Decca. And you tell me that when Craig was apparently mesmerising this weak-minded little trilby to sing his songs, are you telling me that Craig didn't think, oh, I'll just mention about these women's testimonies? He didn't mention that. Because JDP's line was, he was convinced that Decca was not a bacon because the evidence wasn't out there. Now suddenly, in less than 24 hours, he's changed his tune and is calling Decca a wrong'un. He actually says, Craig, he's done a video about Craig, slating Craig again, calling him a wrong'un. And he says two wrong'uns, clear wrong'uns, meaning Decca Heggie. But why would he change his mind so quickly on Decca? I tell you why, because I predicted it when Decca was pulled in and he's off YouTube now. The whole situation is easy to read with JDP. JDP never voiced support for Decca, not once, did he? Until, well, actually the opposite, wasn't it? As I've just explained, completely the opposite. Until Decca came out from the shadows and started doing videos. Of course, as everyone knew, and I said at the time, when Decca resurfaces, he's going to be more popular than ever. He'll be getting more and more views again. Well, of course, clickety-click here. Must have seen those views and thought, here, I'm onto something here if I jump on board the Decca train. And stars siding with him. So, he did that. And Decca was contacting him. Decca let it be known he was contacting him behind the scenes. But where it all fell apart now is, because Decca again has been taken away from YouTube, the views won't be there, the clicks won't be there. And JDP, Banter Boy here, is stuck in the situation. He put his neck on the line for Decca, proclaimed him to be innocent, said he thought he was an idiot and all this, but, you know, the messages he gave to YouTube swindler were just no silly mistakes. Well, if he thinks talking like that to a woman in that controlling way is a silly mistake, or a phone call where he mentions the age of a young girl, JDP thinks that's a silly mistake. That says more about him than Decca, Craig, or anyone else. That says more about him. But now he claims he suddenly heard something. I'm gathering he's talking about the testimony he's made against Decca by his victims. And now he's suddenly woken up. Strange enough, just as Decca is taken offline and can't be used for clicks anymore. He's suddenly woken up. But as I say, everyone was telling him, look, you don't even have to rely on Craig having told him about these. People were telling him in the chat, I told him in his live, not in his live chat, in his comments when he was coming out with all this rubbish about Decca, was saying the evidence is out there. All you have to do is go and listen to it. It's out there. And yet he claimed he didn't know about it. And now suddenly he's woke up because he suddenly found it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it one bit. The truth is, the end of the matter is fallen right into the trap. He's in his little rowing boat, going on the Decca stream, thinking, whoa, this is it. I'll be getting the clicks. I'll be getting the followers now. Where, hey. But now that Decca is not in the stream, he's lost his paddle as JDP. And he's just aimlessly floating there. And now has to get out of this. And the only way he can get out of it is to turn around and turn on Decca. But there's no way on this planet that he could turn that quick. And that he can suddenly find the information he needed to turn on Decca as quick as that. And as conveniently as that. When Decca is taken out of the drama and out of YouTube. No way. No way. But all that I'll say to you, JDP, you were warned. You were well and truly warned that when you did that, you were going down a route that you wouldn't be able to get yourself out of. No one has survived Decca. No one yet. And you said more than was required to show that you were definitely on the Decca train. He's a victim of trolls. He's definitely not he's clearly not a bacon and all this. You just have to live with that now. But don't go, I mean, you want to have your say about Craig, have your say about Craig. But don't go trying to deflect from the fact you've made a complete and utter idiot yourself. Don't know whether to say idiot or you've just exposed yourself for what you are. You'll say and do anything to get in with a trend and get those clicks. And as I've said before to people, be careful doing that, because you might get the clicks, but it also might lead to your downfall in the process. But that's my views on it. That's my views on it, darlings.